Hey everyone, hope you're doing well. Some super exciting news coming down the pipeline from Turo HQ today. I feel like a Turo correspondent, but I am not. I don't work for Turo in any way, shape, or form. I am just a host on the platform for the last 6 years, and it's been an incredible journey. So this news has 3 parts to it, and it's super important. If you're already operating on the Turo platform, then you're definitely wanting to tune into this because it is going to affect your bottom line revenue. And if you're thinking about joining the platform, this is an incredible time, but you don't want to fall into the number one trap that I'm seeing people get into right now, which I'm going to go over in just a couple of minutes. So let's start off with the biggest change that they are making, and that is they are increasing the host revenue take. Now, if you're already familiar with Turo, you know that Turo offers 5 different protection plans, and every protection plan basically determines what your insurance protection is through Turo and what your revenue split is from Turo as well. As you guys can see here, I am showing you the current plans as they stand now. Mid-July, these are going to look a little bit different. Turo is going to be adding back 5% to your take-home revenue. So for example, if you were on the 70% plan right now, where Turo is taking 30% of your day rate in exchange for having a $250 deductible on your host protection plan, that is now going to get bumped up to 75%, and that $250 deductible is going to continue to remain. Now, the only plan that this does not affect is the 60% plan. If you're on the 60% plan, there is going to be no change for you moving forward. Now, you would be surprised at how quickly an additional 5% can really add to your bottom line. So I'm really excited to see them make these changes and really give this bump to host, because I think that it is well deserved and definitely needed. Now, I'm so excited that I'm actually thinking about bumping up my host protection plans to maybe the 80 or the 85% plan, especially during the summer season, because day rates are so high. So you really have a good opportunity to capitalize on higher margins. And so that has my brain definitely churning. Now I'm going to give you guys a second to sort of digest these new host protection plans that are going into effect in mid-July. And while you guys do that, let me talk about the second change that Turo is implementing, which is they are giving their host a 90% take on delivery fees. The way it currently works right now is, let's say if you are offering $100 for delivery and you're on the 70% plan, that means that you're only getting $70 of that delivery. So this is really nice because this obviously makes way more sense, since as a host, you are putting in the time, effort, and taking on the cost of delivering a vehicle. You should have a higher take on it. So I'm happy to see that they are finally bumping that up to 90%, which matches the take that hosts get on the trip extras as well. Now, finally, and the piece that I think is super important and really important that you approach this with caution, is the third change that they're making, which is actually in the form of an incentive. Now, we don't have the complete details, but Turo is going to be offering a $2,000 bonus if you list a car between July 1st of 2021 to December 31st of 2021. Now, there are going to be some terms and conditions that apply to this, which they have not yet released, and they won't until they actually launch this incentive. If I had to take a guess of what this would entail, there is likely going to be some requirements, such as you have to have your car listed for X amount of days and host X amount of trips before you could qualify for an incentive. And I'm assuming that they probably have different tiers to this, and it's probably different cars qualify for a different type of bonus. So before you get super excited and you go out and buy a bunch of cars to list on the platform and getting it ready for July 1st so that you can earn a potential $2,000 bonus on each vehicle, there is some really important stuff for you to note. And I really, really want you guys to pay attention to this because I cannot tell you how many hosts I talk to on a daily basis and the mistakes that I see people making right now. We are in an absolute insane car buying market, one that I've never seen in my life before. And that has a lot to do with the demand of people wanting to purchase cars and the major shortage in the new car supply. Because of the semiconductor chip shortage, production for automobiles has really come to somewhat of a halt. So it's very difficult to get supply off of our supply chain and onto the lots. And therefore, dealers are really charging a premium for new car purchases. Now, from one report that I read off of Reuters, GM was saying that their average transaction went up by at least $3,400 or roughly about 9%. In the truck category, we're seeing prices that have gone up by 10%, and in the SUV category, as much as 20%. I mean, that is absolute insanity, and I would not advise anybody to buy cars at that price, even though we are in a booming car market. Now, according to the major automobile executives from car brands like GM and Ford, they did anticipate that Q2 of 2021, we were going to see the worst of it, the worst part of this shortage that we're experiencing, which is really overinflating these prices. They do anticipate that in the second half of 2021, that things should get better in this market. However, these effects are going to linger into 2022. So I think Turo's incentive is timely in hopes that we do see more supply come onto the new car market. However, we know with all the shortages in the new car market, it is also causing overinflated market or prices for used cars as well. So we're just feeling the effects of it all around. And so what does that mean? That means that there is a greater barrier to entry when wanting to enter the Turo marketplace because it's hard to get your hands on cars that you can get a good deal on. Now you might be asking yourself, why do I need a good deal on a car if the Turo market is doing so great? Well, the Turo market, like any other market, is definitely going to settle down, right? All markets go through a cycle, and right now everything is inflated and it's peaking, and if you're operating in Turo already, then this is a great time to be on it. But if you're looking to get into it, it's very difficult because car prices are very high and you're going to end up with a car payment that is just way too high for the car that you're purchasing. So you want to be super careful because this market is eventually going to balance out. Rental car companies are going to be able to re-up their fleets. There is going to be more supply in the car buying market and prices are going to come down. Day rates are going to come down eventually. And when that happens, you do not want to end up in a position where you have a lot of financial liability that the market can no longer service. So if you are having cars purchased at overinflated prices and you're ending up with really high car payments, well, when the market settles and you can't get those high day rates for renting out your car anymore, it's going to really cause a strain on your finances. So this is really, really, really important to know. Now, if you got this email from Turo, at the very end of it, there was a link to a car buying guide. And Turo has done a really good job at giving some really thorough details on best practices when buying cars. And I want to leave you guys off with this little bit of an insider information, something to be very, very careful about. And if you want to get a better understanding of how I buy cars and how I work out the math, you definitely want to check out my course at powerhost.club. It's 12 plus hours of content showing you exactly how Turo works from A to Z, from beginner level and how to grow your fleet. So you guys will really love that. Now, in Turo's car buying guide, they state that you definitely, if you are financing a car, a new car especially at that, you want to get into it at about 15% 15% off of MSRP. And I think that they're pretty accurate. For me, I think personally that that number is closer to the 18 to 20% mark. However, we are in very unusual times where new car prices are overinflated, which means if you're reading that car buying guide, those numbers are not accurate to what is going on right now. So you really need to take sort of that 9% industry average increase per transaction when buying a new car that we're seeing, and you need to add that onto the MSRP percentage off that we're looking at. So personally, if I was to give some advice, I would say, yeah, you're really looking at trying to get, 20, 25, 29% off of MSRP, which is almost impossible to find during this crazy car buying market frenzy that we're in, right? Is very difficult. So what I would say is that you really want to exercise caution, do your homework, do the math, and don't be short-sighted about your car buying decisions when getting into Turo. Think about the long term and how you'll get into a car and how you will stand the test of time. All right, you guys, thank you so much for tuning in. This was a really hot topic in my private community, which you can also access through powerhost.club. This is something that the host of my community and I spent pretty much all day talking about today, and it's been a great topic of conversation as we go into buying cars for this crazy market that we're in. We're trying to navigate the best way to do it, so we share our best practices, tricks, and hacks on how to get into cars. We would love for you guys to be a part of our community. Head on over to powerhost.club and come take a look at what we're up to on a day-to-day basis. Thank you so much for tuning in. My name is Saimah. This is Saimah's Experience. And if you like this video, be sure to hit that like button. Thanks, guys.